Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible for healing, one brave word at a time. And here today to help me with that mission are two of the amazing authors of a new Amazon best-selling book that we have came out. I knew I was going to do that today, right? It came out this week, you guys. Number one bestseller in a couple of categories, bestseller in at least 5 categories. Holistic Mental Health, Volume 2. Calm, clear, and in control for the rest of your life. Oh my gosh, Amanda, Meredith, welcome. How are you today?
Very good. Thanks for having us.
I'm really excited to be able to talk about it after the launch. I don't often get to do that, but I want to say a huge thank you to our lead author, Laura Mazzata, before I introduce the both of you. Laura had a big vision and mission for this book and brought together this stellar group of expert authors on a topic that is so needed right now, even more than when we did her first in the series, y'all. Like, this is really timely and amazing information that is going to help a lot of people. So, Laura, big gratitude to you. We would not be here without you. So, I have a couple of amazing women to talk to today. Dr. Amanda Carpenter is a doctor of physical therapy and a performance coach to high achievers, helping them break through to a life of freedom and ease. And Meredith O'Brien has over 15 years of experience doing mental health counseling and is the owner of Meredith O'Brien and Affiliates, where she helps clients with eating disorder recovery. Oh my goodness, gals. Okay, Amanda, let's start the party with you. Tell me a little bit about this amazing chapter that you wrote.
Yeah, well, thank you. So it's so interesting as a physical therapist to be in a mental health book, right? But I learned many years ago that, really our patterns get stored in our body. And after years of working as a physical therapist, you start to see these patterns emerge. And then often the world is a reflection of our own journey inside. And so I had, achieved the highest degree in my field. I had purchased a new building. I had my own practice. I was to the outside world. I had it all. I was doing great, absolutely wonderful. And my body started to not feel good. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Oh, there's nothing to worry about. On paper, you look fine." So something just wasn't right. I went back again, and she's like, "Oh, no, no, no. It's all in your head. You're self-employed and you're stressed, and it's just all in your head. Anti-anxiety, depression medication." And I knew something wasn't right. And, basically the world continued to reflect back at me that there was something out of balance. And you can read my entire story in the chapter, but the moral to the story is, in the long run, it was in my head in a way, but not the way my doctor intended it. It was stuck. It was patterns that were stuck in my head and in my body, the way that I thought I had to be. So I was trying to live up to everybody's expectations and carry everything as my responsibility. And that's the pattern that I had to break through in order to regain my physical vitality. So after the fact, I had health and vitality that was better than I've ever achieved in my life.
That's good to hear. I love that. And I love that you, physical therapists, are in this holistic mental health book because, and you and I share that background. I've got a career in physical therapy as well. That's, I think, one of the most important things I want people to know about this book is the variety of experts that we have talking about mental health in all of these very important ways. Amanda, you said it right in the beginning of your answer. We hold it in our tissues. What's the most important thing you want people to know about that piece of it?
Yeah. So our body remembers 100% of the experiences that happen to us, even if our conscious mind doesn't have a memory. So in the moment that our nervous system gets overwhelmed, we have a survival mechanism built in that causes our consciousness to leave our body, our awareness, right? So our body is left behind to have an experience while our consciousness is gone. So we may not have a conscious memory of what happened, but the body remembers. And so the body can be triggered back into It's remembering of what happened. For example, somebody could be in a car accident and have a whiplash to their neck. And, years later, they turn their neck just the right way and the body remembers, and suddenly they have anxiety. And now they're looking at, why am I experiencing anxiety? And they go into storytelling in their mind. And it's really because the body remembered an experience. Right. So these experiences get stored in our tissues. And as a physical therapist, and even as a coach, I help people move the energy out of the body.
Yeah, I am. I'm just like nodding my head, going, yes, I hope everybody really understands the power of what you're saying. There have been many people who have had a lot of mental health support and assistance, but that never had a chance to integrate what's in the physical tissues. And I'm a myofascial release practitioner. We want y'all to know about the fascia. We want you to know about the connective tissue inside that holds memory literally in your physical tissues, right? Oh my gosh, we could talk about this one for 3 hours. I love it. Amanda, thank you so much for just for being here, but being in the project and sharing your amazing, brave words with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Meredith, let's hear
Yeah.
about your amazing chapter.
Yes, I had the pleasure of writing chapter 10, Eating Disorder Recovery, putting joyful movement back into your life. My why is that I am fully recovered from my own eating disorder. And my message is that full recovery from an eating disorder and exercise compulsion is possible. It takes tremendous hope, patience, and motivation, but you can do it. And the main reason I wrote this chapter is that I had a relationship with exercise slash movement that was based on shame and punishment and numbers and judgment. And I was able to change my relationship with movement into one of compassion, connection, and actually choice, which is amazing that we have the choice, in terms of how we move our body, and to be able to recognize that it's not a moral obligation. It's not something you have to check off your to-do list. It is something that you can connect with. And that is really why I wrote this chapter. And I'm really happy to be here.
You said something about hope there a minute ago, and I want to let everyone know, the stories that you're going to be reading from our authors will give you a moment of healing. and it gave them a moment of healing to write them, I'm sure, all of them. But then you're going to have the experts step up in their tool sections to offer practical strategy, practical tools, experiences you can have with their amazing and powerful modalities. And the hope we hope you feel is from this aspect of we need all the voices and all the tools, and all of you came together with these unique pieces. And I hope that people get to read your chapter, Meredith, and maybe for the first time they'll say, oh, I didn't realize that, or I get to learn that, right? So in your world with eating disorders, what do you think is the most important thing you want to know about the beginnings of a journey that would move them forward?
Well, what I usually work with clients is, even at that first session, is the why. Why did you come to the session today? What is driving you? And it's really beautiful to be witness to my clients and to find out what their why is. For me, it was I wanted to be the best aunt to my 4 beautiful nephews. And that was my why. It was so powerful and kept me going. So I usually ask the question, I want to get better, but, and there's a lot of things people fill in. And then to say, and let's overcome those obstacles, right? What are you recovering to? We know what we're recovering from, the eating disorder behaviors and the compulsion with exercise and movement, but what are you recovering to? And that's really my message. And it's beautiful for me to work with all of my clients. And I'm so proud of what I do and happy to be able to help my clients.
What are you recovering to?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. I
Oh
like
my
that a
gosh, I
lot.
love the other day I had a client who said, I want to feel free. And it was just so beautiful. Ah, yes, let's talk about that. What does freedom look like in your life? Because with an eating disorder and exercise compulsion, everything is well, a lot of things can be about just this judgment, this self-criticism, this blame, this shame. There's so much negativity. And how are we able to move from that into a life full of connection and compassion and choice?
All right, gals, let's keep this going with this next one. Um,
Mhm.
Meredith, I'm going to stick with you for this one. Have you answer this first? You know, this for me, this journey is about feeling. Feeling is healing. So helping people to feel in all the different ways is part of this for me. It's an awareness practice. And when you all drop these nuggets of awareness, it could change a life in that moment that somebody's hearing something different for the first time, right? What I'd love for you to do is share one of your awareness practices. If I was looking in your window and I got to see your day to day of your practice, what would that look like?
Mm, This is a really great question. So I incorporate mindfulness into my everyday. And for me, I call it a check-in, right? A check-in. And so what I do is I pause for a few, maybe a minute or two, and I connect with what am I feeling inside my body? What body sensations am I experiencing? I identify what feelings I'm experiencing, which is just energy going through your body. And then what I also do is observe what's going on around me. And for me to pause and be able to take myself either from the past or the future into the present moment, it's a grounding exercise. It anchors me into the earth. And I do that at least once a day. And it's a beautiful way to be able to identify your feelings, validate your feelings, because in my journey, I did everything not to feel, like let me engage in all of these behaviors to not feel my feelings. And I always say that to feel is to heal. That is what it is. It's like one of the most beautiful things that our body can communicate and share that with us. So that's one practice that I practice.
A profound one for sure. Oh my gosh, probably foundational to all of the awareness. When I talk about awareness, I really always talk about body awareness. So, Amanda, I'm assuming
Mhm.
that you're going to have 2 cents for this as well, especially when we talk about body awareness. But if we were to look in on your practice, what would it look like?
Yeah, so very similar. It's to feel is to heal is so foundational, right? Like as a physical therapist, I was actually caught up in the exercise aspect of things and the doing and the counting of calories and how many reps and but I wasn't feeling, right? And my body kept trying to call me home, right? If we're not feeling, then our body will call us home with some sort of symptom. So now I'm in my body often throughout the day, just even doing little intuitive stretching check-ins. I love to use the voice, just, if I'm feeling something, how do I move that energy out of my body through a whine, through a growl? We actually live in the Southern Adirondacks, and I can go jump in the lake, do a cold plunge, and scream, just to clear that energy. So I'm very aware of when a trigger happens, when a nervous system kind of overwhelm happens. There's energy there that has to move, and there's really only two types of energy that have to move. There's high energy depleting, which would be anger, frustration, and there's low energy depleting, which is sadness. Right. And in all of the years that I've been a physical therapist and doing myofascial release since 2006, there's only one way I've ever seen somebody move sadness out of the body, and it's crying, and oftentimes it's a like frustrated loss of control. It's not fair kind of cry. Right. So that is actually, if something comes up that makes me, sad or overwhelmed, that's part of my practice to give myself permission to move that energy. And sometimes it's like, 2 minutes or not even that long of a cry. And then it's like, all right, I'm ready to go, or a scream. So oftentimes I do screams in the car, because if you do a blood curdling, scream outside, people might come running like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Now, if I'm in the lake doing that and, it's 32 degrees out, then they're like, oh yeah, she's just crazy. But moving
Mm.
that energy throughout my body through movement and through sound is something that I go throughout the day doing. In fact, in my office, I have a rocking chair. And sometimes I'll actually sit in the rocking chair if I'm in a meeting and rock, because that's a great way that we can move. I give my patients rocking chair therapy 10 minutes twice a day. You know, we rock babies to calm their nervous system. We need to calm our own nervous systems. We can move that energy mechanically out of the body through rocking, but then it's also very calming.
Mm, definitely. I love that. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
I know.
Ooh.
Like
Mhm.
rocking. Yes. I love it. And car screaming. Anyone? Yes, we like that too. Okay, last one for both of you. Amanda, I'm going to stick with you. What do you think the most important thing you want to let people know about mental health in general is? Last words today.
Give yourself permission to feel. We live in a society that doesn't allow us to feel. Stop the judgment, because the judgment oftentimes is, internal and what we expect, what we believe we have to be. But just give yourself permission to feel without a story.
Yeah, really powerful. All right, Meredith, what's your version of that message?
Yeah, my words of wisdom is I would say to be able to identify what brings you joy and to each day identify what is something that brings me joy, if it's a movement, if it's a connection, and try to incorporate your life and give yourself permission to take these things into your life and to prioritize them, as well as to treat yourself with compassion. I often do this because I just do a lot of self hugs and hugs with my clients, that if we can shift from self-criticism and blame to self-compassion, that is going to really help us on our mental health journey.
Thank you. And of course, there's so much more, everybody. So, first, Amanda, Meredith, thank you so much for what you do in the world. And thanks for being here today to share it with everyone. Thank you,
You're
ladies.
welcome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
And about that, so much more. This is more than a book. It is a generous community of expert healers, authors, therapists. Please, you guys, drop down into the show notes, because if you heard something that was resonating today, I've got these authors hooked up with their websites, and they are there for you to answer the question, to give you that next step, to help support that journey. And of course, you're all invited to our book launch party, which happens to be tomorrow, the 18th of April. That's going to be at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. I've got information down below about how to join us for that. And if you don't already own a copy of Holistic Mental Health, please hop over to Amazon today and grab your copy there. Lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.